Bruiser Brody would have been awesome in ECW.
Yeah, agreed. Another question. Mark D. Brown, I wish ECW went to Rochester back in the day. You didn't go up that far, right?
Did we? I know we're in Buffalo. My geography is not great, so is Rochester below Buffalo?
It's still upstate. I don't know geographically how close they are. Mark, you could tell us, or Steve, your most valuable job is sending me those private notes during the show for all the things I don't know and I get wrong. Okay, here we go. Did ECW ever run a show in Rochester? Zoom in. Yes, ECW ran at least 2 shows in Rochester, New York. The first show was on July 25th, 1997 at the Rochester Convention Center. Second was May 8th, 1998 at the same venue. Additionally, there's a fan cam recording of a show in Rochester on December 11th, 1997.
Well, there you go.
There you go, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
And
$1.99.
Derek, Paul Heyman's WCW mole story in ECW. How true was it? Well, that's reason alone to get the book, Derek. But
that's the hook in the book. I mean, that tells you the whole damn story. The whole damn story is Paul and I working together. And the reason I wrote the book, other than the fact that this guy pestered me for over 2 years to do it, was the fact that that story was still being told as a work. Like, Francine, Bubba, Dreamer, none of them knew the truth. And until I saw his DVD come out, my name is Paul Heyman, or whatever they call it. And he said, yeah, the most, I was like mortified. It was 25 years later. And I realized he never told anybody. We did this together. He's losing the locker room. The locker room was falling apart. They were all going to cliques. We had never had cliques. Now we had cliques. He said, I'm losing the locker room. I said, well, I'm going because everyone wants to leave. I'm out. And he said, you got to help me. You got to help me bring the locker room back together. It was always us against the world. Yeah, it was. Now what? He goes, now I got to make us be us again. So I need you to be the world, be the bad guys. I need you to do something. Let me do this. Just say nothing. I'll say nothing. I will be asked 1,000 times, believe me, for a story or a comment. I will never comment. And if you agree to never comment also, we can make this work and get the locker room back together. And next year, you'll come back as the greatest heel in the history of professional wrestling. Oh my God. The guy who took the company under my oh, you. I said, Paul, stop it. It's me. I'm not one of the boys. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm not planning on coming back. You don't have to sell me. You need the locker room back. I'll try to help where I can do. But stop that.
That was a great Judi Dench, by the way. Ian Drew Dice Clay. Todd, loved the book so much. I bought it on Audible and the physical copy. I have a question. Did ECW think about touring the UK? You'd have sold out 10K arenas easily.
We already were going so much faster than we could afford. It never even occurred to me to go to that level. I mean, I was still trying to figure out where in the United States we could run and not get our asses kicked monetarily. I mean, again, there was no internet per se. It was just people were trading tapes. I would have loved to go to the UK. I would have loved to go to Canada. I would have loved to go to a lot of places we never quite got to. But keeping up with the money was like almost impossible. And when the pay-per-view started, forget about it. They're taking like $250,000 for a pay-per-view up front and paying you for that pay-per-view like 2 months later. But meanwhile, they want another $250,000 for the next pay-per-view, or you can't lock that date in. Well, how about paying me for the first pay-per-view so I can pay you for the second pay-per-view? It didn't work that way.
Yeah.
And it was just like, there's no chance to catch up. It was awful.
The only way for people in UK to have seen ECW was through tape trading, right? You didn't have television coverage there.
No.
It would have been the tape traders, which, I mean, I know Japan. It started. You started to notice it when you were getting tape orders from Japan and everything. And
Early on, I was like, I don't understand. They know our product in Japan. They don't even know us in New Jersey. How the hell do they know us in Japan? And then I learned about tape traders.
yeah, it's funny. You know what I came across on YouTube? There was a wrestling show late Saturday nights into Sunday mornings on WFAN, our sports station in New York, in the late 80s, early 90s. Jody McDonald was the DJ that would host it.
Jody Mack, do me a favor.
And he's in Philly now, right? He's been in Philly.
He was, yeah.
He was, yeah. So his show overnight, he would have Rich Mancuso on, who was a wrestling expert. For some reason, I before or since I'd never heard his name, but he would go on the show and they would talk about the inside dealings in wrestling. It was basically a dirt sheet on radio. I know he had Meltzer on as a guest, Wade Keller on as a guest.
Nobody credible?
Sometimes you hear some weird stuff like, oh, they're going to break the Rockers up, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, which is a terrible move because Shawn Michaels is not going to have a singles career. Why are they doing this? And,
by the way, Sandman used to call into the Jody Mack show.
Oh.
And he'd go, Sandman! And like he just by calling in, he'd go, Jody Mack, do me a favor. And then they actually established a rapport from him being a caller on the show.
Wow. But my point was that the shows I found on YouTube are all from like late 91, early 92, and they didn't ever get to ECW's start. It's like right before that. So I'm wondering if anybody has them. I'd love to hear what the coverage was when ECW started to make waves. They probably didn't cover the early 92 stuff, but later in 92.
Yeah, 92 early stuff is bar shows in front of 80 people. I wouldn't cover it either. That's embarrassing.
Right. But once you started getting in the sheets, they would have had to start to cover it.
And that was Eddie Gilbert.
Right.
Eddie Gilbert said, what's next? What do you want to do? I said, well, no one's even covering us. I pick up these wrestling sheets, and there's Smoky Mountain, and we're drawing as much as they are, if not more. And our shows are like 10 times better than theirs are. Like, he goes, you want to be in the sheets? I said, yeah. That's what I'm saying. 2 weeks later, there's the tourist, there's the observer. I'm like, how do you do that? What? Obviously, I learned later on how that worked, but back then I was like, it was like magic. 2 weeks later, we're everywhere.
Yeah. So those of you that would like to come to our key holder room now for a drawing for a signed copy of Tod is God and maybe a little more chatter. Join.
We're not doing another hour?
I said 8 o'clock. You clutched your heart when I said that to you. So click the join button below. Join the KC Vault as a key holder. The vault opens to you at such time, and you get access to 1,000 hours of Kayfabe Commentaries programming, the Timeline series, the You Shoot series that changed the shoot aftermarket, and so much of what you see now in podcasts and WWE Network shows were born of that programming. And Tod is God in hardcover or in Kindle or Kobo, if you read that. Is that even still a thing? I don't know.
Audible.
Or Audible, if you would like to hear my my Sandman impression.
If you want to see more of us, contact Steve.
Yeah, let him put something together, for God's sakes. Maybe we'll sit around and bullshit every once in a while on this channel.
It'll be better than you and Nash.
It'll be better than me and Nash. Oh! All right, key holders, we're going to meet you at that special link in 2 minutes for a drawing. Get yourself a signed copy and some more fun chat. So we will see you shortly in that special key holder link. Thank you all.
Thank you all, really. 2 minutes.